Alright, hi everyone. I think it's rolling. My name is Lennie, and I am getting into the groove of my YouTube. Thought I had something. And this video is pretty much just going to be me telling you about my experience in Mexico. So in August, around the end of August, for a week, I joined a retreat. The retreat organization is called the Community Garden, and I'll put the link in my description of this video. But first I'll say a little something about them. So the Community Garden is a non-profit organization that was created by Dakota Wint, who's a YouTuber. If you have heard of him, awesome. If you haven't, definitely check him out. He has so many posts about his travels just worldwide. Honestly, he just immerses himself into very interesting situations and documents them. And he's been doing that for a couple years, I believe. And now he has started this retreat, this organization called the Community Garden, where people like me or like you can join and go see various archaeological sites of different countries. I think the retreats are offered in Peru, Turkey, India, and Mexico. The one that I chose to do was Mexico, and we visited different archaeological sites. We really got to be involved in just like different experiences. It was really, really heartwarming and a beautiful time. And we also got to do plant medicine, which is probably going to be the main focus of this video today. If you guys do know me, if you follow me on anything, you probably would know that I'm a big lover of psychedelics. It's sort of my line of work. It's my passion. I love learning more about it, and I can humbly say I don't know everything about it, but I'm enjoying learning. So, first of all, I chose to do this retreat because of a range of reasons, and I felt really aligned with joining the Community Garden in Mexico for the magic mushroom ceremony. So, where do I want to begin? So yeah, I chose this retreat because I was going through a lot in my own personal life, and if you know me, you might know that my sister Ashley passed away this year in April 2023, if you're watching this at a later date. And I joined the retreat August 2023, and so a couple months after the passing, but I was just like going through a state of, a process of grief, and I was just like, fuck this, like I need to do something for me. I practice as a therapist and a support worker, and I was just like, my cup is so empty and I really need to just do something for myself, because I wasn't feeling good, obviously within reason. I wasn't feeling great, wasn't feeling connected to my power or myself, and I've always wanted to experience a plant medicine ceremony overseas. So I was like, this is the one. We also got to go and see the home of Maria Sabina, which is a beautiful woman that I studied when I did my psychedelic therapy course. So that was a reason why I felt super aligned with Mexico. I also felt super aligned with it because my sister Ashley, who was going through a bit of a health journey, she was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer, and was going through a lot of challenges and not being able to be cured by the medical system, which is, sucks. But one of her things was that she was going to go to Mexico because there was a clinic over there or a doctor over there that was sort of specializing in her case. So that was another reason why I was like, Mexico, off I go. Just another reason, another excuse to be like, I'm out of here. So yeah, the cat's at the door. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go. I personally didn't really know much about Dakota, who, as I said just before, organized the retreat and the organization. My ex-partner, who was my partner at the time, was really into him and his YouTube videos, and that was actually sort of how I found out about the retreat. So sort of felt aligned there, because at the time when I chose to go, I was with that man. So I was like, yeah, okay, like I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be it. So yeah, I joined the retreat. Off I went, jet setting, and it was a beautiful time. And yeah, I'm mainly going to focus on, like I said, the mushroom ceremony part. If you have any questions about my whole experience, I do hope to do a video about it soon, but please just comment them or send me them or whatever. So we stayed in a town called Huautla de Jimenez, I think that's how it said. We were originally staying in the city of Oaxaca, so when we drove up to Huautla, it was about 7 hours, so a full day of driving in the bus to get there. We went and met with our shaman, whose name is Yasmin, and she is such a radiant, vibrant person. And unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish, so I didn't really understand anything of what she was saying, but because I was with an amazing group and our facilitators were super, super helpful, we had a translator. Thank you, Coleman. So yeah, I was eventually able to understand what she was saying, but directly with one another, didn't know what she was saying. So we got to her house when we arrived in Huautla, and we they fed us, gave us dinner, and then we all set our intentions with her one by one, which was really beautiful. And for me, my intention was I wanted to communicate with my sister. There's a beautiful photo of her if you're watching this, or if you're listening. Sorry, but I'm just referring to a photo of her. That's her in the background. So yeah, my intention was just to communicate with her, be with her. Didn't really have a question. I just wanted to feel her. That was it. And then I also wanted to almost for me, it feels like there's this layer of, I want to say, barriers in a sense of my past traumas. And for me, the challenges that I've been through in my past that I have been working through for a few years that I'm healing from are sexually related. So one of my intentions was to, I guess, just release all of that stagnant and lingering sexually negative energy that sort of blocks me from living in my fullest expression. So that was my intention going into the ceremony. And then so had dinner, went to the hostel, and then stayed in the hostel for the night. We all had our own rooms, which was really good to have a bit of solitude. Super duper grateful for that. And then woke up the next morning. Ladies, you will probably understand the extent of this. Men, could be a bit of TMI for you, but could be a bit of TMI for you, but the morning of the ceremony, I woke up and I got my period. I started my bleed. Now, for a woman who was about to step into this really potent ceremony, I was like, holy shit, I'm going to be going through some heavy releasing, not just from my blood, but I just knew walking into this ceremony, into the temple, some shit was about to go down. It was going to be deep. It was going to be real. It was going to be very, very energetic. A lot was going to be going on. But I was so ready for it. I've just bloody took a plane halfway across the world to do this. So I wanted to do it. I was keen. I was low-key oh my god, I'm so magical. To be aligning my bleed on the day of this mushroom ceremony, I was so grateful. I was like, this is fucking epic. So yeah, we went to the markets just in the morning just to look around the town, and while we were looking around, I spotted these flowers. They were chrysanthemums and they were yellow, and chrysanthemums are the flower of my beautiful sister Ashley, and I was like, I should buy these. Anyway, I kept wandering around, and by the time we were about to leave the markets, I saw purple chrysanthemums, and purple is Ashley's color, and I was like, sign me up, I'm purchasing these right now. So I got a bunch of flowers with the intention of taking them up to the temple to lay on the altar. or to lay on my bed with me. So that was really beautiful. I then, the whole retreat group, went back to, what did we do? We went to the shaman's house again. Yasmin and her family there helped us through a process of, I guess, like the first steps in. And when I say that, I mean we were doing a bit of a cleansing, cleansing energy, shedding energy, and just like really getting into the zone of the zone of the ceremony. So for that, we went one by one into this room and we sat on the chair, and there was this elderly woman there who had the cleansing smoke there. She had an egg, which I haven't read into yet, but she had an egg and sort of like rubbed it along your body and tapped it in different places, which I know is a bit of a traditional way of doing things. I know eggs are used in various ceremonies and rituals, so it was really cool for that to be part of it. So she rubbed this like egg over my body, rubbed some like cleansing smudging smoke onto my palms and on my belly, and then on my forehead as well. And then she lit a candle for me as well, and she did that for every single person one by one in a closed room so no one else could really see. So we did that, and then we went back to the hostel, had a little nap because the ceremony was going to be going overnight. We're also fasting at this point, so before you step into plant medicine ceremony, it is recommended to do or to abide by a dieta, so a diet. And the diet was something that I started before even going to Mexico. Ideally, you want to do it for like 2 weeks before your ceremony, but if you can do it for a month, then wicked. So it's no drugs, limited salt, no meat, no processed food, no sugar, no sex with anyone, not even yourself. And just like a few other things, like I'm pretty sure limited dairy products, especially when we're coming from a Western society where everything is fucking processed. You've just got to cut it all out. So yeah, went without weed, went without sex, went without like meat or animal products. And then when we went over to Mexico, from pretty much the morning of the ceremony, you fast. They did offer us food if you felt like you needed to eat, so I just had like a bit of avo on a tortilla because I felt like my body just needed a little something, considering I just started my bleed. So I ate a little tortilla with an avo, and then anyway, fast forward, we went back to the hostel, had a nap, woke up, and then we all just gathered together and waited out the front of the hostel, and then we started our hike. So we hike up this mountain, and we meet the shaman there who's hiking with us. What a fucking woman. She's like, I would say she's in her 40s, and she fucking hiked this mountain so well. Obviously, I'm sure she does it more than once a year. But yeah, I was just like, go girl, like go get it. So we started hiking up this mountain. We stopped for a minute, and Yasmin, one by one in a line, smudges some of the dirt from the mountain on our palms, on our belly, and on our forehead. Because Huatla is a town pretty much in the clouds, it was very misty, quite cloudy at this time of day. I think it was like 4 or 5 p.m. So we're hiking up, and if you're watching this, you can see in the photos just how like foggy and hazy it was. And it was sort of raining too, so we're hiking up this mountain, and for me personally, I'm hiking up this mountain. It's raining, I'm cold, but I'm sweating, I'm bleeding, I'm fasting, and I'm carrying this bunch of flowers for my sister, just with this like completely aware and present state that I'm about to step into this bloody ceremony, and it's gonna be magical, deep, profound, and potentially transformational. So walking up the mountain, just enjoying it as best as I can, getting that like fresh air in my lungs. Oh, it was so beautiful. We stop again up the mountain when we're given these cacao beans. We set our intentions into the beans, and then we scatter them somewhere on the mountain where they can then harvest and grow. I think that's the right terminology. And then we continue our venture up the mountain. So it was probably like an hour hike, maybe. By this point, the sun has gone down, so we are using our torches to get to the temple. We come up to this like padlocked gate that Yasmin's helpers, which are two young boys, like I'd say they're in their teens, who like unlock it for us. And oh my god, these boys are like hiking up the mountain, carrying our stuff. Yasmin said, if you guys have anything you don't want to carry, give it to my helpers and they'll help you take it. Here I am feeling bad. Like, I didn't hand anything over, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, these boys are like hiking with so much shit on them. Anyway, they open up the gate for us. We walk down these stairs to the front of the temple, and we're there, waiting for everyone to come down. It's raining. We're all puffed. We arrive. We get set. And so Yasmin and her helpers are inside the temple helping the setup. I'm like getting changed into my comfortable clothes, and I put on my pajama shirt. And yeah, so we walk in one by one, and we're given a candle that is lit, a similar candle to the candles that were lit in our intention setting part of the day that was earlier, like when the part that I said where we were getting rubbed with the egg. We had a similar candle then. So we're at the ceremony outside of the temple, which is like it's just like this little hut in a sense, but it's very durable because it rains so much up there. So I would say it was like a tin roof by the sounds of the rain that was on it. And you'll see some of the photos of the insides. I don't have too much content because this was the serious part of the whole Mexico experience, so didn't take too many photos, but hopefully from what I do include, you can sort of see a little something. So we light our candles one by one, and all the women enter into the temple first, and all the women are sitting on the back wall. So when you walk into the temple, we're along the back wall, and then when the men walk in, they're on like the side wall. So I was really grateful to be sitting with the women. There was 5 women, and then plus Fernanda, and then plus Yasmin, who sat in ceremony, but 5 of us that joined the retreat for this, and we're sitting on the back wall together. And I was just like, this is so beautiful. Like, I just felt so safe and comfortable stepping into this, unknown experience, and to be sitting with the women. I just felt so empowered and safe and loved. Okay, so we're sitting there, and Yasmin's still like doing her setup. She's got the cleansing smoke. She's talking. It's being translated. I'm definitely feeling a bit nervous. Like, you just never know what's going to come up. And because this ceremony, all up until this point, there was just so much energy and thought and intention put into this very moment, this very experience that I'm about to step into. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm low-key like, fuck yeah, let's do it. But I'm also like, okay, this is it. We're getting closer and closer, and nerves are there, but I just felt so ready. I was like, this is everything I need, and this is everything I want to do, so I'm just gonna go for it. So we go up one by one. We place our candles on this board together, and we go up to the shaman, and we receive our little I think it's corn paper, and inside that is the mushrooms. So we go up one by one, and we receive it from the shaman. I was not aware that I needed to like repeat something back to her because I don't understand Spanish. So I just like took them, and I was like, thank you. And then I went back to my seat, and then she said something, and then it got translated. Oh, by the way, guys, you just need to say this when you receive your mushrooms. So sorry, Yasmin. I'm learning Spanish for you when I come back, I promise. So yeah, got my mushrooms sitting there waiting, and then everyone goes up one by one and gets them. And then we're all sitting there, and we're so close, and it's about to start. And we were advised that the way to consume the mushrooms is you get them. So you pick up your mushrooms one by one, and you nibble them with your front teeth. So you like until it like is all broken down, and then whatever amount you fit in your mouth. Obviously you can't eat the whole serving in one mouthful. It's not going to work like that. So you nibble on your mushrooms, and then when it's like broken down, you sit it underneath your tongue, and then you put your tongue down, and then when your mouth salivates, then you can swallow the mushrooms. So the dosage, we are all given a package of, I believe it was 10 grams of fresh wet mushrooms. I'm not 100% sure what that equates to in like dry mushrooms / the potency. So I'm just going to say 10 grams of wet mushrooms. So we were given that. And pretty much when it was time to start eating, off I go. I take my first bite. I've never eaten wet mushrooms. I take my first bite and I was gagging. I was like, holy fuck. This is not delicious. I'm a big foodie. And I was not enjoying that. I was like, this is gross. But after like my first swallow of it, it just became normal. I was like, this is it. And I almost was like enjoying the process. I was like, this is it. This is what you have to do. So I'm nibbling. And it takes like 40 to 50 minutes to probably get through all of the mushrooms. And by the time I'm finished, because I was like, I'm eating this whole thing. I've flown all the way over here. I've hiked up this mountain. I am bleeding. I am hungry. I am tired. And I want to talk to my damn sister. I'm eating all these mushrooms. So I eat them all with good intention, of course. And by the time I finished, it was starting to kick in. I was like, okay, this is happening. I need to wee before anything because I don't want to go out there in the depths of it. So I go out to wee, and our shaman Yasmin had her like main assistant. His name was Axel, the most beautiful soul. He would help us like when we needed to exit the temple and like get into the bathroom. He would just like hold us, open the door, because we're tripping. We need some support. So he would like help us out. He helped me out to the bathroom, and then I come back in and I'm like, all right, here we fucking go. So I lay down and I just start closing my eyes, and then it all happens. And obviously I cannot relay to you the full 8 hours of the mushroom experience, but we're slowly like coming up, and because I've had experience with mushrooms, I was like, okay, this is what's happening. We're coming up. And pretty much what I can relay to you from my memory today is at one moment when I did sit up and look at everyone in my retreat who was in the room, they all literally looked like blue avatar beings. I swear some of them were black as well, and they had these like pointy ears. And when I would look in the temple, like it's all like these like moving like warm red and blue colors, just like moving down and along the ground. And it was just like an instant flow of just movement of the temple. It was very awesome to see. Sensationally, I felt like this is the most amount of mushrooms I've done in my life. So I am like, whoa. Like I'm still in my body when I needed to sit up and open my eyes, but I was really trying to stay inward and get what I was hoping for out of it. So I'm laying there, and when it finally was like happening, I was like to spirit, to the medicine, please just show me my sister. I want to talk to her. And it was almost like she's not here, but she's here. And it was like, she's not here, but you can talk to her. But I want you to know that she knows and she understands. And I'm laying here crying. I'm like bawling my eyes out because I'm just like, I feel amazing. I feel so like safe and embodied and loved and nurtured and cared for when I'm in this like really psychedelic state. But when my sister was coming through, I was just like, just crying, just releasing. Like I'm fully focused on what I'm experiencing, but I'm aware that I'm bawling my eyes out. I am so just like, it's the grief. It's all coming out of my body. And I don't really have any other words for it, but I was just, you could have filled up a damn bucket with my tears. Like, it was just happening. And I was getting these messages of she knows, she understands. And my sister Ashley, she wasn't a spiritual being, she wasn't on this like journey of, healing her trauma and getting into meditation and all that. She was just her beautiful self, and she lived her life to her absolute maximum, and that is fantastic for her. But these messages of she feels, she knows, she understands, it was almost like to me like she's up there now. Like she passed away in April, and on the day of this ceremony, it's August, like, she's transcended. She's in the afterlife. She is wherever the end, in quotation marks, is. She is on the other side. She is evolved, transformed. She's something else now. So she knows, she understands. And I was just getting these warm feelings of safety and contentment, because I'm so glad she knows. Like, I could be wrong in my beliefs here on earth, but I feel pretty solid that I have a pretty good understanding of what life sort of is. We all will never know what happens when we die until we die. But with my experience of psychedelics, smoking DMT, mushrooms, all of the gist, it's obvious that we go somewhere else, and it's not the end when you die out of this human flesh. So to get that clarity of Ashley now knows and she understands, I was like, thank you. Like, I'm so glad that she knows and she understands where she is and what she is. And I was just like, I hope whatever her journey was in this human life, experiencing cancer, I hope that she learned whatever she needed to, and I'm really glad that she knows and understands life now, on the other side. So that was really beautiful. And I'm like laying in my mushroom ceremony, just bawling my eyes out, and it was just everything I needed. Like, I needed to release that, and more came up, and more in like the grieving part, as I'm going in and out of experiencing Ashley, I was just having a beautiful time. Like, the mushrooms always make me feel so good. They always remind me that, like, I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right work, because there's a lot out there in life where you can't help but second guess yourself, especially like when you live in a very stimulated world where rules are sort of set in place, or like these invisible norms are there to construct your self or your personality. And so a lot of messages of like, I'm okay, I'm doing the right thing, and you're loved and you're cared for and you're safe, and Ashley's here, she's everywhere. And I was getting that, like, she's everywhere now. Like, you don't need to be sad because she's with you all the time. And one of the major things that have stuck with me, a truth that came out of that mushroom ceremony in regards to Ash, was you don't need to grieve over your human sister because she's not even a human anymore. And that was just like, whoa. Like, whoa. We as humans attach to this grief because it gives us this really deep stimulation. It does put us into a state of suffering sometimes, and we just grasp onto that because in a sense it makes us feel human. And even though it makes us feel pretty low and pretty sad, we can't help but just hold on to grief because it's what keeps their memory alive sometimes. But why do you want to hold on to the grief of suffering when they're not even here anymore? And like, just like the mushroom and the medicine said, like, why grieve? You don't need to grieve over Ashley because she's not even Ashley anymore. And it's like, all I need to do is keep orienting myself towards her memory. And I just need to keep placing my focus on our memories together, and that's it. I know and I accept that grief is part of my life journey now, and I can't say that all my grief is washed away now because of this mushroom ceremony. Like, I'm literally sitting here crying, but I don't need to be upset about Ashley not being here today, because the fact is that she's not. and she's transcended into the afterlife, whatever that may be. And she comes up for me every single day when I have signs or memories or all those little things. So honestly, even though I'm crying right now, I can honestly say that since this mushroom ceremony and since coming back home, when I cry over Ashley, that aching, I don't know if anyone listening, what type of grief you've experienced, but for me, it feels like a dagger sort of aching down my chest. And it doesn't feel that deep anymore. Like, it genuinely felt like it was going down from my collarbones, down my sternum, into like, almost like right in the center of my diaphragm. Every time that I would think about her, it would just like stab straight down my body. But since this mushroom ceremony, I'm getting weird things in my head, I'm just massaging. Since this mushroom ceremony, like, that aching does not hit anywhere near as deep. It is not anywhere near as painful. And, I was just like, what the heck? Because I did a lot of crying. I did a lot of moving through that grief. And in the mushroom ceremony, another thing that I saw, it was like there was a room of furniture. There was like a table and a chair, and everything on it was like this like dripping leaves, and it was red. Everything was dripping. It was wet. The energy felt heavy. It felt just like bleh. And I knew instantly, I'm like, this is my grief. My grief is covering everything in my environment with this red dripping heaviness. It's everywhere. And I was in the mushroom ceremony, and I was visualizing this, and I could see it. You know, the medicine was showing me my grief on top of everything in my environment. And I was like, I let it sit there. I cried for a bit, and I was like, okay, I need to pick this up. Like, I know that I'm going to continue grieving in my life. That's all part of the human experience. But how can this not cover every piece of damn furniture in my environment? And I was like, I need to pick it up, and I can do it, and I'm going to do it. And then literally I see while I'm in the experience that everything just started to lift off. I could see the rocking chair. I could see the table. Everything just started to like transform into like purples and yellows, and everything lifted up. And then it was just like this big like whoosh, and everything was so beautiful. And I was like, wow, it's that easy. I can just pick my grief up off of the furniture, because it just starts with me, and it just starts with a choice. And I'm, you know, for those of you that are grieving, everything I'm saying right now, you could probably be listening and be like, it's not that easy. Well, I know it's not that easy, but it still is the truth. It comes down to you every single day. If you're experiencing grief over a loved one, or whatever it is, or a loss, it comes down to you to choose to pick yourself up in that time of wallowing in that heaviness. And for me, going through this mushroom ceremony, I was probably crying at least half of it, so probably a total of 4 hours. Like, I'm crying, and I'm just releasing it all. And the shifts, like I said, I don't feel that aching anymore. My sister's not a human, so I don't need to cry over her not being a human, because the fact is she's not here. Why grieve over someone who's not someone? Why grieve over a human being when they're not here as a human being anymore? And that was the major takeaway in the story of my sister when it comes to the mushroom ceremony. So that was just beautiful. And I got the signs that she's there, she's everywhere, she's in everything, and yeah, that was really beautiful. Now, moving to another little thing that happened in the mushroom ceremony. I'm going to admit right here, right now, that growing up, one of my biggest fears was that I can't have children. I feel like I want to be a damn mum. I feel like I'd be great as a mother. But it's always been a little fear of mine. What if I can't have kids? Especially because I've had troubles with my cycle in the past. I'm like, what if I can't have kids? Like, that would really, really upset me. And in recent years, I sort of just like let it go. I'm like, I'm not even going to think into it anymore, because it just is what it is. Anyway, in the mushroom ceremony, unexpectedly, I'm like laying on the ground, and I'm like running my hands on my body, and I'm like, I always like to do that when I'm tripping. It just makes me feel safe and soothed. And I have my hands sort of like on my hips, in my pelvic area, in my womb space. Anyway, I have my hands there. All of a sudden, it was just like a whoo, and I was just like dropped down into my own body, and it was like I landed on the floor of my pelvis, maybe in like the floor of my womb, and I'm inside my own belly, and I'm like, whoa. And then as I like sort of drop more into it, I'm like, my belly is pregnant. I literally was transported down into my belly, down into my own pregnant belly. I've never been pregnant before. And my belly genuinely felt like I was full term, like third trimester, maybe got 1 week out, ready to pop. My belly genuinely felt like it was this big. And I was like, holy shit, I have such a healthy body. I can hold a child. Oh my God, how exciting is this? I was in my own belly and I was like, holy shit. My body is healthy. My body is capable. My body is destined to hold a child. Like, there was all this space in there. There was nothing. There was like, it was light in there. It was beautiful. And, you know, there is a possibility I'm interpreting this wrong. But from my experience and from my eyesight, when I was put into my own pregnant belly, I wholeheartedly believe that I'm destined to have a child. And that just brought me so much love and clarity. And I just like kept rubbing my belly and I was like, fuck me. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, I've gone through my own, you know, journey of self-image and body love and insecurities and X, Y, Z, haven't we all? And I was just like, wow, my body can do this. Like, how magical. Like, us women are walking portals. If you haven't realized, we literally, in between our legs, bring life, bring a new transformation for some soul into this earthly world. And just like in that moment in the mushroom ceremony, I was like, wow, I cannot wait to have a child. I was almost like, fuck, I'm ready now. I don't have a partner, but boy, I'd love to have a child right now. I was just so excited. I was like, this is amazing. And then pretty much for the last part of my mushroom ceremony, I was just like so overfilled with like pure love for every single person that was sitting in the room with me that night. Every single person, all of the men, all of the women, all of the facilitators, the whole journey that it took for me to get to this moment where I laid there. It was for at least, like, time is so incomprehensible right now referring to the mushroom ceremony, but at least an hour, I have to say, I was just filled with love and awe for the experience, the opportunity, for everything that I had seen from this medicine and all the people that I had connected with. And I was like, fuck, I just hope everybody, every single person understands how much I love them and I'm appreciative of their time and energy and interaction over there in Mexico. It was really, really, really beautiful. Towards the back end of the ceremony as well, we were all sort of sitting up and we were given bread and cacao, and you know, some of the people sang during the ceremony, and I went back out to the bathroom again, and Coleman took me out, one of the facilitators, and I was just like, I didn't say it at the time because I'm tripping, but I was just like, what an absolute gentleman Coleman is. He also took mushrooms and he's there helping me go outside, and we went outside and you could see out on the mountain and it was just lights and it was so beautiful. And I was like, I love you so much. Like, I can feel the love slowly cultivating in my heart as I relay this story to you, but fuck, it was just so beautiful. So beautiful. And then in the morning, like, we went to sleep. It took me a while to be able to get to sleep. My mind was sort of like going off and off and off. But yeah, in the morning we all woke up and shared a little bit about our experience. And finally got to eat later when we hiked back down the mountain and did our thing. But yeah, like, that mushroom ceremony has genuinely almost like set a new trajectory for me right now. Like, I've landed back home, and I had some time in Mexico 2 weeks after the mushroom trip where I could just like sit and integrate and have some time with myself when the retreat was over. But since coming back home, upon reflection, I can honestly say that the shifts that I have had somatically and internally within myself, oh my God, I think it would have taken me 3 years of internal work to be able to get to the state that I am now, because that medicine, it just really helped me through that grieving period. Like, I obviously cried while relaying this story to you, because this is the deepest that I've been able to explain the experience so far. And yeah, just like I was just saying, the shifts, the realizations, the awareness that I now have, I'm sure it was definitely a concoction of the whole Mexico trip, as I was there for 3 weeks, but for the mushroom ceremony that I'm speaking to you about today, it has really, really helped me. And I'm even more passionate about psychedelics, especially living in a world where it's not fully legal yet. I cannot recommend something like this enough. Even if you're not going through grief, even if you're just going through your own personal journey of awakening and realizing and growing and healing and evolving and all those things, medicine is always the answer in my eyes. But medicine is definitely should be an option for many. I'm so wholeheartedly grateful that I got to experience my sister in the way I did and experience my body the way I did, because I've just come back feeling so whole. And grief doesn't really make you feel whole. And it feels really good to just be the person that I am today. Yeah. I'm really happy. I am. Even though I'm a little bit like sad right now. I'm like, it's just so much happiness for that experience, and that's something that will always stay within me. And yeah, that was my mushroom experience in Mexico. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any other questions, please send them through to me. Please comment them, like this video, or whatever you gotta do to help me out, to spread the word. Yeah, that was my mushroom experience in Mexico. Happy, content, fucking enthused. And yeah, cool. Thank you for watching, and check out my other videos if you like what I have to say, if you like what I'm experiencing. If you have any questions about the community garden as well, I'm going to post their link in the description, like I said. But yeah, thanks guys.